Veteran of Operation Desert Storm, veteran of the Second Iraq War and the Battle of Fallujah, candidate for Congress, author of Warlord, No Better Friend, No Worse Enemy, Ilario Pentano. Ilario, last year you were almost elected to Congress. You ran against a 7-term incumbent. You barely lost. How's it going to be different this time?
You know, it was a very close race. There were some things about 2010. We had some great lessons learned. We've redistricted. We've learned a lot. There's a tremendous amount of enthusiasm. And they say the mountain has come to Muhammad. Barack Obama is coming to North Carolina, and that's going to really hurt my opponent, and it's going to allow us to win.
Ilario, you're on a national show now. Why should anybody, other than people in your district, care about your race? It's just another congressional race in North Carolina.
Out of 435. Well, yeah, that's a great question, Mallory. There's really two reasons. One is my biography. The other is the importance of my district in North Carolina, which is going to be the swing state this cycle.
Okay, let's take them separately. Why is your biography important?
Well, I think that when people understand my background of having fought in 2 wars, having worked in big business and small business, they're going to understand that I'm actually going to live a mantra of service and sacrifice before country. And that's so important in a time when people are fed up with career politicians. So when my country called, I made a choice and volunteered to serve. When New York was attacked on September 11th, I went back into the Marines after already having fought in 1 war. In between, I'd worked at Goldman Sachs. I'd been a small business creator, job creator. I've been in the private sector. I'm not an expert, but I'm a witness both to how markets work and also to the military realities on the ground. I think that's going to be attractive for voters, especially right now when in both sides, both parties, they're fed up with career politicians. I think that a citizen legislator appeals. North Carolina is important. North Carolina is key, and it's key to your entire audience because Barack Obama has invested so much time and money in North Carolina. Charlotte, the home of the September Democratic Convention nationally, and he's seeing with his poll numbers now as the battlefield across the country shapes up, North Carolina has really turned into a must-win state for him. He only won by 14,000 votes. Mallory, that's the margin in my very close congressional race last time, which is why we're focused on winning this time.
Let's talk about your district. What's your district like?
I'm down in the southeastern corner of North Carolina, so we basically are in between Camp Lejeune and Fort Bragg, if viewers can imagine, about 1/3 of the coast of North Carolina, just above Myrtle Beach, so again, another reference point. We have the Cape Fear River. We've got some great agricultural interests. We export pork products to China, and at the same time, we have some wonderful thought capital businesses, some pharmaceutical businesses, and of course, wonderful development, retirement, and golf communities along the coast. So we really have a combination.
What do people in your district care about most?
I think that unemployment and job creation is probably the same concern in my district that is across the country. North Carolina is seeing higher than national average unemployment, and the message that I've had in the district is if we can fix the national level economy, and I believe that we can do that with diminished regulation, with smarter taxes, reforming the tax code, ultimately reducing the corporate tax rate, getting rid of capital gains, things that could get entrepreneurs and job creators back in the marketplace, will get the economy moving again. That'll drop the unemployment rate, and that holds true in my district as it does across the country.
Ilario, what do you think you can do if you're elected to Congress that your people you're running against, both in the primary and in the general, can't do?
Well, I've got a really interesting situation in the primary. We did so well last time that we've now made this race very inviting for new folks to get in. So now I've got a primary against a career politician who not only has spent so much time in Washington, but he's worked as a lobbyist. So now the choice is ultimately a very clear one. I'm somebody who, on 2 occasions, put my country before myself and potentially risked my life in defense of the Constitution. I'm somebody who some of the liberal publications have called a Jack Bauer Republican. That's going to resonate for a lot of people nationwide. Alan West, in many ways, not only is he a friend of mine, but is an archetype. He ran in 2008, and he came up short. And people across the country rallied to support him, and in 2010, he won, and people, I think, universally, conservatives across the country are glad that he did. In many ways, I have a similar kind of candidacy. But what I represent with my biography is somebody who has been willing to make sacrifices personally and even professionally for my country. And we want to see more legislators that are willing to do that instead of padding their pockets or ensuring their reelection at the expense of the public.
But how does that play out in terms of your district and in terms of what your district wants and what you're going to do for your district?
Well, I think that one of the things that resonates with people both in my district and outside is that when people say, Ilario, what are you going to do for us here? I say, what I'm going to do for you is what I want to do for America. I want to make sure that we're able to make a business climate, a business culture in America where jobs return here, where we're able to get unemployment reduced to a level that basically by, again, reducing taxes, reducing regulation, getting rid of some of the frivolous litigation that we've seen, not only make it difficult to do business, but even affect the cost of health care, for example. I've got a suite of plans that are very similar to a lot of the conservative candidates, but the why me part comes back to the biography. I've worked in the private sector, both at big banks and in small business. And when push came to shove, I put my hand in the air and I said, send me, Mallory. I said, I'll go fight in this war, both as a kid and then again as a 30-year-old man, leaving behind a wife and children. So when my country has called, I've been there. And right now, Mallory, our country is calling. We face not only economic woes, but the world continues to be a dangerous place. We've just seen Admiral Mullen say Pakistan is part of the problem. We know China with their new aircraft carrier, where, by the way, one of the stories that nobody's talking about is that Britain, once the world's greatest navy, has decommissioned its only aircraft carrier. The Chinese are standing up there first. But Mallory, they haven't named it because they don't want to draw attention to it. There's a lot going on in the world, and I think I've got a perspective to tackle it.
Hilario, is the Tea Party supporting you?
They are. And this is one of the challenges that somebody who had run in 2010, how do you make yourself new and fresh in 2012? Well, a couple of reasons. First, when Herman Cain announced his Hermanator PAC last cycle, I was one of the first congressional candidates that he endorsed. Sarah Palin endorsed us, and a wonderful, wonderful group of grassroots organizations across the country supported us. This time around, again, because I have a primary against a career politician who currently serves in North Carolina and who served as a lobbyist, I'm a natural for Tea Party support, and we've already been seeing that flow in. So yes, they do.
How do your views differ from the Tea Party's views?
Well, I would say that I support a lot of the platforms, if you will, of the Tea Party. But remember, Tea Party is a label that the mainstream media has tried to attach to a set of conservative beliefs of folks that want to see limited government, return to constitutional conservatism, and an understanding of what the founding principles are. And that's been an idea that really resonates in my district. And Mallory, this is a takeaway that's important. While I ran against the Democrat and came up short last time, he's considered by many to be one of the more conservative Democrats. What that means is that my district is inherently conservative. The challenge for me wasn't that my ideology or my conservatism didn't go over well with voters. I just was an unknown running against a 14-year incumbent, which is why this time it will be different, which is why I don't have to pretend I'm anything other than what I am, a staunch conservative. But those values resonate with Democrats, independents, and Republicans in southeastern North Carolina.
If you get elected and you take out this
God
incumbent,
willing.
What caucuses would you join in the United States House? Have you thought about that yet?
You know, I'm very interested in armed services and intelligence. I'm certainly mindful of the role that agriculture plays in our community. So these are some committees that I'd like to be a part of. Homeland Security. With regards to caucusing, I'd be interested in the Tea Party caucus. I worked at Goldman Sachs, and we were joking off camera would I join the Goldman Sachs caucus.
I was just going to ask you that. Are you going to join the Goldman Sachs, ex-Goldman Sachs employees caucus?
Well, what your viewers need to appreciate. And again, I know that we're doing this on the street, so I know that some of the viewership here has an appreciation of what the financial markets are about. That's part of the biography that I think will resonate with folks. Won war, worked on Wall Street, worked for Goldman, started as a clerk, became an electricity trader, but in 1998 I made a decision to leave. Started my own business. C-9/11, were attacked, second war. So yes, while I did work at Goldman, I think the caucus that makes more sense for me probably would be the Marine Corps caucus. Having said that, I appreciate what men and women on the street do. I also appreciate what men and women on Main Street do. And again, having fought in 2 wars, I have an appreciation for what it takes to keep it all safe.
Hilario Pantano, thank you so much for joining me. And Hilario, Warlord, I hear you're going to have a new version of it coming out?
We have. The 3rd edition is coming out in December. Thank you, Mallory, and we're excited about that. We'll be traveling the country and God willing, getting on some national television to promote it as well.
Hilario, good luck and come back soon.
Thank you so much, Mallory. Appreciate it.